And for those of you who like animated things, I'm happy about this one. Ice Age 3: Dawn of the Dinosaurs is well into the development, so you should see that. And here's one that I'm not quite sure if this is going to work. Will Ferrell and Seth Rogen, but Land of the Lost. Yes. And of course, do you know how he came up with that, don't you? Anyone here see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yes.
His character was Marshall, Will, and Holly?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, so that is how that all came about. And speaking of Will Ferrell, I hope this actually happens. There's talk of an Anchorman 2. And apparently Steve Carell and everybody involved said absolutely. And they asked Steve, they said, you know, Steve, you can kind of make the argument that you're actually a little hotter right now than Will Ferrell. Do you mind being a supporting player? And he said, no, I don't care. He said, you know, people get too hung up with title and above who's first billed and all that. He said, all of us getting together, having a fun time, why wouldn't we? And you know, his character was great, which I mean, you know, the whole bit about, I will years later be diagnosed as with an IQ of 82, and at the end we're told he became chief advisor on foreign policy for the Bush administration. So, you know, that was a classic. So we have that to look forward to. Now this one had me scared until I actually got a little bit of news last week. G-Force. With Nick Cage, Steve Buscemi, Tracy Morgan, and Will Arnett. And I thought, oh my God, you know, G-Force and all that, and you know, the anime show from back in the day. Thank God it has nothing to do with that. G-Force is an animated show about a team of hamsters that go on secret agent missions for the U.S. government. So I was like, oh, thank God, because I'm just, you know, I'm trying to see Steve Buscemi and going, oh, is he up here? No. So we mentioned G.I. Joe: Rise of the Cobra. So we'll, you know, we'll see how that all plays out. Another film that we lightly hinted at, which was Final Destination 4, also supposed to have some 3D aspect to it. And I mentioned Avatar with James Cameron. They're keeping that under wraps, but you're going to see stuff soon. Budget, I've heard, is well over over 200 million. So, you know, excuse me?
I heard it was supposed to be live action.
Yeah, it is. Live action and some CGI. I've heard Sigourney Weaver's in it and all that. James Cameron, this is his first film since Titanic. He's done some other stuff, but this is the first full boom film since Titanic, so you know, he's got the clout. And let's be honest, everyone always gets scared about his budget, which is funny because he did Terminator and Aliens on very tight budgets and delivered them well under what the industry standards for films of those types were. And then he went and broke budgets with The Abyss and Terminator 2 and Titanic, which they said there's no way you can make your $200 million back with a love story when everyone knows the boat's going to sink, and lo and behold, look what happened. So, this one I'm very curious about. Jim Carrey has apparently been tapped to do a remake version of A Christmas Carol. And apparently he will, of course, be playing good old Ebenezer Scrooge. So, and I've also heard rumor that they may have him playing multiple characters in the film. Possibly Scrooge, Tiny Tim, Bob Scratchit, and other people. I don't know if that's going to happen, but all they're saying is tell the people about Jim Carrey's new Christmas Carol film, so I've certainly done that. Now, those are the films that are on the docket, are supposed to at least come out sometime in 2009. Then you have the ones that I always love that are the announced films. Yes?
One, I mean, it could be just because it's probably a little lower budget, but one I just saw a trailer for it, I thought it was fun that year, that Babylon AD.
Mm-hmm. Babylon AD is coming out at the end of the month, so we're in 09 right now.
Oh, coming out this year?
Yeah, it's coming out in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, excuse me.
Oh, I didn't think it was coming out that season.
Nope, Babylon AD is done, it's ready to come out. Now, these are the films that I always love. These are the ones that are announced, which means the studios are planning them, may already be shooting them, but don't know if they're going to DVD, if they're going to be held to next year when they're moving. So this is always the, you know, this is the one where you'll be sitting there about 18 months from now going, hey, yeah, I remember hearing about this thing. You know, for example, last Friday I interviewed Matt Lanter, and everyone's like, who's Matt Lanter? Well, Matt is one of those young actors who's poised to break out. He was in The Cutting Edge 3. He appears in the new War Games film that is coming to DVD at the end of the month. And then he will also...
It's already out.
Dead Code? I don't think
they came out Tuesday.
Okay, they moved it up then. Then he will also be voicing Anakin Skywalker in the new Clone Wars movie and series, and we have an interview with him up on our website. He actually, I was a little surprised, he actually really opened up about Anakin and the Anakin we're going to see and how he's different from that and how he got the part. So if you get a chance, check out the website. And we also have an interview with his co-star, Amanda Walsh, who was in the film. And it was actually interesting. It's very, you know, everyone thinks filmmaking is so glamorous, and I can tell you for a fact it's mostly a lot of standing around waiting. And they talk about the sub-zero temperatures they had in Montreal filming the thing and laying on the ice, and how those little hot pockets, you know, those things you squeeze to heat up your hands, they had to make them vests out of those things. And he said that, I asked him something, he said, well, you know, to be honest, we shot the film almost 2 years ago, so it's hard for me to remember details. One of those things that was announced, they figured out, okay, this is how we're doing with it. So that's where these come in. Hellraiser, they decided, you know what, we're just going to start over and go from the beginning. Anyone fan of Jason Statham? Don't forget Death Race, the new one is a remake of the old Death Race 2000. Somehow they're doing a Crank 2. Now when Crank 1 ended, he was falling out of a helicopter and there you go, but somehow he survived and Crank 2 is coming.
Hit the ground, rolled over and opened his eyes.
Yeah. So yes, he's still alive. And everyone remembers Sacha Baron Cohen and his
Oh, no.
Borat? Well,
no.
he's got another character called Bruno, the Austrian fashion consultant. And Bruno has been seen popping up all around the country. Yes.
Isn't this the one where they went down to, I think, I don't know, it was Louisiana or Alabama?
St. Louis, I believe.
St. Louis, that's right.
Well, they've not confirmed that, but let's put it this way. There was some video online where a, quote, tall guy wearing short pants, speaking in a funny accent, was doing a thing with a very effeminate, funnily dressed person. Now, nobody said whether this was for the movie or not. Apparently, good old Ben Affleck apparently got suckered into it too, and that's made the rounds. You know, the trick with these things is he shoots like 15, 20, 25 hours worth of footage, what's going to make it into the film, but apparently at that point, that is when he's going to retire from that and go into the other films, because as he pointed out, Borat became so big, so popular, he said, where can I go? It doesn't, because the whole point of the character was to get people to open up and say things they normally wouldn't say because they thought it was a foreign journalist. And that's where, you know, the whole thing of the real people come out once the guards are down and that sort of thing. Everybody knows who it is, it's not going to work. They would all be playing to the character now, so. But we'll see about that. The A-Team, back in consideration. And John Singleton apparently is still attached to direct it, so we'll see how that works out. Video gamers, The Prince of Persia. Wonder Woman, still on. Jessica Biel also rumored again. I've heard, we go from everyone to Jessica Biel to Sophia Bush to this person to this person to this person.
That's what I heard was Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock was attached, that's not going to happen. Then there was Ashley Judd, and da-da-da, so they go on. So, you know, all we know is it's still in the planning stages. As is one of the ones that I've been talking about for 2 to 3 years, because they've been talking about it forever, but apparently it is starting to move forward, Jurassic Park 4. Or as I like to call it, Jurassic Park 4, we have toys to sell. That being said, though, in all fairness, what I've heard is this one will be a lot better, more action-oriented, much more of a story.
Are they bringing back Sam Neill?
Possibly. The third film didn't really have a script. They kind of made it up as they went along. And so this one is going to be the classic fans will love. The Elfstones of Shannara has been announced as possibly being considered, as is the 24 movie.